morning, everybody. Welcome, guys, to the screening of Rise of the Guardians. There's going to be more schools coming in, but we got to start the program because we got to get you back to your schools sometime. This is Mike's field trip to the movies. Mike is this terrific kid, terrific guy, and 10 years ago, he's the one that came up with this idea of inviting you all to come see movies at the Arlington. So I want you all to scream really loud. Thank you, Mike! You know, there's a few sponsors I need to, yes, we all love Mike. And there's a few sponsors I need to thank: Citrix, Wells Fargo, Cox, Toad Foundation, and Real D. So if you guys could say thank you, sponsors. Okay, and last announcement, please stay after the movie because the director, Peter Ramsey, is going to be with us, and we're going to have fun and have questions with Peter. So enjoy the film, and once again, thank you, Mike!
Hey, Peter, I just want to ask you, what is it like for you to see thousands of children enjoying and experiencing your film?
It's amazing because, you know, when I was a kid, I was literally in the exact same spot, the exact same circumstances. Everything about what these kids are going through is identical to the way that I grew up. So for me, I can see a straight line from where I was then to where I am now. And when I see them watching the movie and enjoying it, it just takes me right back to where I was.
Well, this program, Mike's Field Trip to the Movies by Santa Barbara International Film Festival, gives a lot of these children who have never even been in a theater before the experience. And did you feel that when you were a child? Did you have something similar to this that inspired you?
Definitely. I grew up in L.A., in South Central, and, you know, we didn't go to the movies very often. But the few times that we did, it was kind of like a religious experience, you know. It's you go and there's the gigantic screen and the curtain opens up, and it really is something special when those giant images and giant emotions are coming at you. And I think it marked me for the rest of my life, and I know it'll do the same for some of these kids.
Really? Well, there may be a future Peter Ramsey out there in that audience right now being inspired. Taking you back to your early days as an artist, as a painter, how has that helped you transition into a director?
I think everything that I do now comes out of drawing. I mean, really from my earliest days, you know, from being 3 or 4 years old, I always drew, you know, I was always creating and trying to make images and somehow trying to tell stories through pictures. So I think, again, it's kind of an unbroken line from the habits and the loves that you develop in childhood to what moves you as an adult.
Great. What was it like working with Jude Law and Alec Baldwin, Chris Pine? What was that experience like? How were these guys to work with?
It was amazing. You know, this is my first feature film as a director. I'd never worked with, you know, actors of this caliber before, and but there was almost like no intimidation after the first day. They're so professional, they're so eager to like bring something of themselves to the process, and they really want to collaborate, you know, they really just want to do something great and have a good time, and it was wonderful. It was a dream come true.
How is Hugh Jackman? I mean, he's having a big year. I mean, was he a lot of fun to work? He seems like I've met him, he seems like a really nice guy.
You know what, he is probably the nicest guy in the world. I mean, literally, you can't believe, he's like, you know, 10 feet tall, he's like Tarzan. So nice, you can't believe it. And I spent a long time going, is this real, or is he acting, or is it? Yeah. But that's the real him. He's a wonderful, wonderful guy, wonderful actor to work with. It was an absolute pleasure.
Excellent. Can you tell me about some future projects maybe that you're working on?
Well, my only project lately has been trying to get some rest after the 3 or 4 years of working on this thing. I don't know just yet. You know, we really only finished this movie at the end of October. So it's been a couple of months of, you know, publicity and rushing around and going to some of the award shows and things like that. So literally, this is the first opportunity I've had to kind of catch my breath. So thinking about a lot of different things, but we will see what the future holds.
Well, great. Thank you so much. Love Rise of the Guardians.
Thank you.
you.
It's my pleasure.
Did you guys like the movie? Please welcome Peter Ramsey, director.
Hey guys, thanks for coming.
Can you turn the music down?
Turn her down a little bit.
Angie from the Taylor School wanted to know what inspired you to make this movie.
Whoa, you know, it was a great idea by a guy named William Joyce who wrote this series of books called The Guardians of Childhood, and it's about how all these characters, Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy and the Sandman, they're all about how they became who they are. And we thought it was a great idea to make a movie that got all of them together for the first time. So that's where the idea came from.
Sasha from Family Partnership actually has a really good question. How does animation work?
Woo! How does it work? Well, you know, it's basically it's like any movie. We have actors, but in our case, the actors just do the voices, and we use those voices to help us create the performances that you see on the screen. There's animators who use computers and drawings to create these characters and make them look real and light them and move them, and then we use the voices of our great actors to talk for them. So it's a couple of different stages that goes into the what you see on the screen.
Terrific. Is it time to see the?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Meg from Family Partnership wants to know, how did you create the characters to be so visually realistic?
A lot of work goes into them. We have lots and lots of great artists and designers and animators. It took us about 3 years to do this film, and altogether there were probably 400 people who worked on it. So it's the work of a lot of different, very talented people.
Mary Can from Monte Vista School wants to know, is it harder to direct an animated movie or a movie with actors?
You know, both kinds of movies have their own challenges. I mean, I think the tough thing about an animated movie is that everything you see on the screen has to be made by someone. So you have to think it up, you have to make it, you have to decide on it, and then you have to make it look real and alive. So that might be a little bit tougher, I don't know.
Alejandro Vega from Taylor School wants to know, what was the first movie you ever made and what inspired you to go into movies?
You know what? Guess what? This is my first movie that I ever made. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. This is my first movie as a grown-up. When I was a kid, I was probably, 9 or 10, and we had a little Super 8 camera. It's like the old style film camera. And me and my brother used to make little movies with little clay monsters and stuff like that. So those are my first ones way back when.
And Sean De La Pena, also from Taylor School, wants to know, how many people do you have to work with as a director? Is it hard sometimes for you? And do you help others even as being a director?
Good question, Sean. Yeah, there's lots of people. Like I said, there's probably 400 of us that worked on the movie itself, but then there are lots and lots of more people that you have to meet and talk to even outside of that. So yeah, there's lots of people, but I have a lot of great people helping me. So if there's ever anything I don't know or can't handle or confused about, there's always somebody there to help me out and make sure I'm doing the right thing or going the right place, or not being too late or not being too early. So, and yeah, as a director, part of your job is to help people understand, the story you're trying to tell. What's the best way to, do a certain piece of artwork or some writing. You have to help the actors to understand what their character is feeling or what their character is going through, so they can give the best performance that they can. So, yeah, the job of a director, you end up helping a lot of people, but the good thing is that there's always a lot of great people to help you.
Jamie Guevara from Taylor Elementary wants to know,
Jamie.
when did you know you wanted to make movies?
You know, I think I knew it without understanding it from when I was a kid. I didn't get to go to the movies too often when I was a kid, and when I did, it was always a really special experience, and I felt like I wanted to be part of it, but when I was a kid, I didn't even know that people made movies. I thought they just kind of dropped onto the screen and were like kind of like magic. I didn't understand that there were people who got together and wrote scripts, and then, you know, guys with cameras who, I just didn't understand it. And it wasn't until I was much older in my teens that I started really thinking, oh, people make these things. Maybe I could be one of those people. There must be a way. And that led me to where I am now.
And Stephanie from Taylor School wants to know, do you like the work that you do?
I love it. It's great. I mean, you know, it's so much fun to tell stories. It's so much fun to work on something, work on a project over a long period of time and see it kind of grow and change and basically become what you see in your imagination. For me, that's the best thing of all about it. And it's also kind of the message of the movie, I think, is that, you know, the things that are in your imagination, they feel real to you, and there's a way, if you just keep trying, to make it real out in the world. To me, that's the most incredible thing about making a movie, that you can have something in your head, and if you work hard enough and stay focused on it, then what's in your mind can be seen by hundreds and hundreds of people. It's pretty amazing.
Campbell from Monte Vista School wants to know, which character was the hardest to generate for you?
Yeah, I think all of they were all really challenging, but the hardest was probably Jack Frost. He was a very, you know, he had to be able to do a wide range of acting. He had to look really real. You had to be able to get a lot of emotion out of him. So I think if you asked any of the animators who worked on it, they'd say Jack Frost was the toughest, but hopefully it was worth it. Hopefully you guys liked him.
And obviously you kids did. And Mia from Howard School wants to know about the voices. How do you pick the right voices to play each part in the movie?
Good question. You know, in our movie, a lot of times in animated movies, they'll pick an actor first, and then they'll sort of, you know, design the character to look like them, or they'll have that in mind when they're creating the image of the character. We went the other way around. We wanted to kind of know our characters first and decided what kind of personalities they were going to have, what they were going to look like, and then we said, you know what, let's find the actors who are most like Santa Claus, or who's most like the Easter Bunny that we created, or who's most like Jack Frost. And that's kind of the way we did it, and I think we got really lucky, because for me, our actors are all perfect.
Well, kids, we have to thank Peter for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
And
Thank you.
we want to announce the winners of the posters contest. Miller School from Santa Maria, the Monte Vista, 5th grade, and the Monte Vista. We do need to thank the sponsors that made this possible for you guys to be here today. Cox, Topes Foundation, Wells Fargo, and kids, you all get to keep the glasses, so you don't have to recycle them. They're yours. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, guys.